A reading from the letter of Seattle. The President of Washington sends word that he wishes to buy our land. But how can you buy or sell the sky, the land? The idea is strange to us. If we do not own the freshness of the air and the sparkle of the water, how can you buy them? Every part of the earth is sacred to my people. This we know. Earth does not belong to us. We belong to the earth. All things are connected like the blood that unites us all. We do not weave the web of life. We are merely a strand in it. Whatever we do to the web, we do to ourselves. One thing we know, our God is also your God. One thing we know, which white people may one day discover, our God is the same God. You may think that you own God as you wish to own our land, but you cannot. God's compassion is equal for red people and white. One thing we know, there is only one God.
Some of you know that I grew up 19 miles west of Boston in the town of Natick, Massachusetts. What you may not know is that Natick was founded as the first praying village in colonial New England, with the ardent Puritan, the Reverend John Eliot, as its leader. What was a praying village, you might ask? After translating the New Testament and the New King James Bible into an indigenous version, Eliot set about converting local tribal members to Christianity. Very much a product of his time, Eliot believed that being a good Christian meant being a good Englishman. In this spirit, his converts were isolated from their homes, their families, and their culture. Called praying Indians, they were forced to cut their hair, wear English clothing, and live in separate villages patterned after English towns. This is how my hometown began, as a praying town. By 1674, over 1,100 indigenous people were sequestered in 14 of these villages across New England. And you can be sure, as children, we were darn proud of our heritage. I especially remember digging for Indian artifacts in my backyard with my neighborhood friends, while my very kind and patient father gently directed our excavation away from the septic tank. Having discovered a flat, foot-long rock that resembled an arrowhead, off we went to the Historical Society to present our discovery. The director was enthusiastic, offering even more information about our community's history. She never mentioned that the person who wielded this arrow would have to be 14 feet tall. Sadly, she never mentioned, however, that at the start of King Philip's War in 1675, all the indigenous Christians were carted off to Deer Island or sold into slavery, lest they stage an insurgency against the colonists. So let me begin today with a question. How many of you believe in diversity? Raise your hand. Good. Good, it's quite a relevant question these days, isn't it? Now let me ask you another question. Diverse from what? Because when you say diversity, you're implying that you have a starting point. One of these things is not like the other. Remember Sesame Street? What is that other thing? And let's be honest, when it comes to diversity, the starting point is white. According to psychotherapist Resmaa Menakem, whiteness is an intellectual and political construct solidified in America by 1705, when Nathaniel Bacon led an unsuccessful but potent rebellion of poor white and black farmers against the British elite. The solution concocted by the wealthy English officials and landowners was deeply sinister. Why not divide and conquer? Why not prevent future insurgencies by legally privileging white settlers over black? With the stroke of a pen, laws were passed that bifurcated the legal system in Virginia by skin color. Thanks to the state legislature, white colonists were now free to disregard, oppress, murder, and enslave African Americans, as well as the indigenous peoples of North America. Not only did whiteness now constitute a legal classification, Christian leaders were simultaneously turning the church into a cultural, economic, and political system of domination. You see, there's comfort in power. There's safety in supremacy. What we now call racism may be an intellectual artifact, but the breadth and the depth of the atrocities committed in its name defy description. This is not new news. For many of us, it is uncomfortable, embarrassing, awkward, painful. It is here, Resmaa Menakem argues, that the real work of change and healing begins, not in our minds, but in our bodies. I'd like you to pause at this point and close your eyes. How is your body feeling as we discuss this dark side of American history? I'm talking about your body, not your thoughts. Is your stomach clenched in anger? As in, I don't want to hear this stuff, I didn't do anything. Are your muscles bracing in a feeling of visceral resistance? Maybe your body feels weak or listless. Or maybe there's a constriction in your chest that resembles grief. You can open your eyes. You see, Dr. Menakem would argue we all carry the trauma of racism and injustice in our bodies, be we white, brown, or black, Indigenous, Islamic, Jewish, Hispanic, Asian, Pacific Islander, etc. The act of otherization combined with the power to do actual harm teaches us to fear one another, and fear causes us to fight or flee or freeze. Some of you may remember our conversation a while back about moral injury, when our core human values are violated, when we acquiesce to this violation through wars that ask us to kill or prejudices that ask us to hate, we all suffer deep psychological and spiritual harm. This has been proven to be a huge part of PTSD for veterans coming home from war zones. Again, when our core human values are violated, when we acquiesce to this violation, we all suffer deep psychological and spiritual harm. If we're white, because we have systemic power, we get to bypass the discomfort, dismiss it, or dress it up in a patronizing kind of empathy like lipstick on a pig. Let's not go to the angry place, the fighting place, the hurting place, the grief place. In a world of pain, let's choose no pain. Let's just stuff it. Do an end run, hop over it, slide around it, run away from it. By no means should we pause and feel it, unpack it, process it, heal it. Dr. Menachem submits that we as a culture are all traumatized by the horrific realities of our history. It is only by slowly and gently and patiently feeling and processing what our bodies carry for us, again, not just today, but over the generations, that we can hope to experience a true sense of human reconciliation. 10 years ago, I co-led a group of high school students on a 10-day mission trip to Ghana, West Africa. I remember the excitement of the teens, their joy as they contemplated making their mark on this country, and the villagers in the city of Ho. After many flight delays and an impossibly rough 3-hour bus ride, we arrived just in time to shower and head to church. The service was joyous and lengthy. Not wanting to miss the huge Sunday market, our hosts encouraged us to follow worship with some shopping. And as we made our way through the crowds, the villagers all stopped to watch us. You see, we were quite a spectacle. Smiles abounded. Some of the local children reached out to touch the students' skin, crying out in their language, "White, different." Only now do I understand what happened upon our return to our lodging. Several of the girls collapsed in a state of complete emotional exhaustion, weeping uncontrollably for reasons they could not understand. The boys began to bicker, leading to an actual fist fight in the courtyard. After a cooling off period, we called the group together to process everything that had happened. Today, I am convinced, as Resma would say, their bodies were processing the cultural baggage they brought with them. The girls talked about how conspicuous and vulnerable and afraid and stressed they felt being young white women in an all-black crowd. The boys talked about how angry and uncomfortable they felt just being in an unfamiliar environment without, I would add, the accoutrements of power even young white American men are accustomed to. I think all our bodies were speaking the language of a racially divided universe. And how I wish we had had a deeper understanding of what was taking place, instead of merely intellectualizing the whole experience. This day, my friends, we honor the indigenous peoples of the world, horribly harmed by hubris and ignorance. As a confessional faith, we of the so-called white race, we as part of the Christian church, ask our indigenous neighbors for forgiveness. And I hope that in this act of contrition and all those yet to come, You feel in your own body not resistance and anger, but a small sense of relief, a slight unburdening, a bright lightening of the spirit, a glimmer of compassion. We have such a long, long way to go. Still, this we know. All things are connected like the blood that unites us all. We did not weave the web of life. We are merely a strand in it. Whatever we do to the web, whatever we do to one another, we do to ourselves. Whatever we do to one another, we do to ourselves. This we know. Amen.